Hey, how's it going, YouTube? This is Bryant here, Bryant Interviews. I'm here with my good friend and guest, Gautam Tomar, and today we're going to talk about his experience being an actor.
Hey,
Uh,
Brian.
anyway, welcome. So, first things first, you do a lot of different things. Like you're studying acting, but you also have a full-time job
As a physical therapist,
as a physical therapist. So, so how do you budget between the two?
well, it's easy now because with this pandemic, I'm not taking any classes at the studio or I'm not doing any productive work for the acting, like
Right.
I'm not auditioning or doing anything. So it's easy now, but I'm pretty sure with the time it's going to be harder and I have to cut down my hours toward my work as a physical therapist. I work as a part-time, so I do give time to my acting study and classes I'm taking.
Okay.
But yeah, as the pandemic will end, I'm pretty sure I'll be going for the auditions and I have to give more time toward
Very
acting.
cool. Very cool. So what inspired you to go into acting? Like what made you have that shift from to go into that field?
Actually, it stems from my college time. When I went to college in India, New Delhi, that's where I was raised. I participated in some of the plays for the college. They were very basic play. I won't even call it a theater.
Hmm.
I did some of the sketches. I did some of the play, basic comedy and a little bit drama. I really enjoyed it. And it was very fulfilling. But at that point of time, I was very busy with my study and all, and I did not give a serious thought to acting. But now, after working few years, and I see that I'm not getting that kind of fulfillment with my current work. So
Hmm.
I'm gravitating towards something creative,
Very cool.
something that's more fulfilling, which is acting. So I'm trying to get
So
back into acting.
you're originally from India, correct?
That's right.
So what part of India? Because that's a big place.
It's a big place. Oh yeah, they're like, I don't know, like over 30 states, maybe
Okay.
31 or 32.
Okay.
I'm from New Delhi. I'm from the capital.
Okay.
And that's where I'm from. So that's like northern part of India.
Okay. Because it's every single state there is pretty different, no? Like how
It
would you
is.
describe that those differences? What's the same? What's different?
I mean, for simplification, you can participate, you can, I'm saying participate, divide India into four parts, like northern parts
Okay.
and southern parts, east, west.
Okay.
But still within east or within south, there's a lot of variety. It's crazy. Like you move from one state to other state, it's like moving from one country to another country.
Wow.
There are so many languages, there are so many
Okay.
cultures within culture, dialects within languages. I don't know, there are more than 200 languages,
Wow.
and within each language there are several dialects.
Wow.
So you can see the diversity is just too much. It's crazy.
Wow. So when you studied in India originally, do they have like a national language or like a commonly spoken language? Like what keeps their communication across the entire country? Like
That's
which
a good question. I'm not exactly sure if it is called national language, the or it's a most spoken language. It's Hindi. Hindi,
okay.
actually, name, India is an English name. It was
Right.
given by British people to
Okay.
Hindustan. Actual name is Hindustan.
Okay.
So Hindustan, Hindi people live in Hindustan. So the
Okay.
country name is driven from the language Hindi, Hindu, like you can
Okay.
say, like Italy, Italian,
Okay.
France, French, and then Hindi,
Okay.
Hindustan. So, but the India name is an English name. It's given by the British. It
Okay.
was a colony of British people for like
So
300 years.
so basically when you learn English nowadays in India, it's British English, am I mistaken? Or is
Close to
it
British English, yeah, because English was introduced in India by British people,
okay?
but it changed. I see that it has changed over the time. When I listen to people 50 years in the movies or in
Okay.
the documentary, I see that people used to speak more like British people, but over the
Okay.
years, it has changed. It is still close to British English as
Okay.
compared to American English, but mine English, it's mixed. So you may not be able to see like that true Indian English because some of the words I pronounce in British way, some in American way. It's all mixed. I've been all over
Oh,
everywhere,
wow.
so it got all mixed.
So you're also like, so how old were you when you came to America?
I was 24 years old when I came to America.
And you came
Yeah.
here to study physical therapy or
Related, yeah, it's close to
okay.
physical therapy. Actually, I wanted to study sports. I wanted to study
Oh,
sports rehabilitation.
okay.
So I was looking for courses everywhere, Australia, England. I even did America, and I even did some research on India, but I couldn't find a college. I did find some good colleges here in America, so I
Okay.
applied for colleges in Texas and New York. There was a college in New York, but I got accepted by the college in Texas, Texas Tech, and
Okay.
I got admission in this course, strength training, rehabilitation, and exercise physiology.
Okay.
And I studied that for 2 years there.
So that's a large shift. Like, how did your parents take it? Like, how did your family take the news? Like, hey, I'm just gonna go into acting. Like, how like that shift?
I actually has not told my parents yet. It's
Okay.
because I haven't really started anything serious. Like I'm not doing any kind of productive work or anything. I'm
Okay.
just taking classes, and I
Okay.
just started taking classes like few months ago.
Okay.
So hopefully once I start going for auditions or maybe I start working, I start doing something productive, then I would tell, because at this point of time I don't really have anything to tell them,
Okay.
and I
So,
don't know how they're gonna take it. So I don't
okay.
know.
So you study physical therapy in Texas, then you moved to New York, or how did that
Oh
work?
man, that's a very good question. I have moved so many times.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to go to all moves, but I can tell you quick that first I moved from New Delhi to Texas. I went to
Okay.
school there. From Texas, I came here, New York, for a
Okay.
small project. Then
Okay.
I moved to Florida, lived in Florida for 5 years, loved it over there.
Okay.
But then for the, acting and all, I moved to New York. And for work too, basically I got a nice job here, part-time job, which I was looking for. So
Okay.
I moved here and I'm here now. So
What what influenced you to go? So do you what kind of acting is your main focus? Like, do you prefer film? Do you prefer Broadway plays? Like television? What is your niche? What where do you want to focus your energy?
I see. I'm not exactly sure at this point of time because I'm a
Okay.
beginner. I'm just playing with
Okay.
everything. I'm doing drama. I'm doing comedy with
Okay.
all the classes I'm taking. I'm pretty sure I love drama and
Okay.
comedy, and that's for sure. I'm gonna try that, but I'm gonna try more. I wanna be versatile, and
Hmm.
I have to play it out more to see what I really like. During college, I did a lot of comedy because they were like play, and they
Right.
were like all based on comedy and a lot of like even slapstick comedy.
Okay.
I enjoyed that, so that I'm sure that I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna try more things and see what really works for me and I what really enjoy. Now you were saying Broadway,
Right.
like I can't say much about theater
Hmm.
because I never did theater.
Okay.
I know for sure that I'm gonna love camera work
Okay.
because I'm doing the classes on Zoom,
Okay.
which pretty much simulate the camera.
Right.
So I'm enjoying it. So I know that I'm gonna love camera work, but
Okay.
hopefully I love uh, theater work too. I think I work for a little bit and then I kind of find out what my niche and what I like more because it's very practical. You can't say much about it without
That's
actually
true.
doing it.
Did you get any particular inspiration from movies like Hollywood, Bollywood? Like how has the media like the film industry influenced you in India and the US?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the biggest reason I am inspired by the movies or just in acting
Okay.
is it gives freedom. It gives you freedom. So when I see movies, I see that freedom that you can imagine anything you want. and you can create anything you want. And same thing when I do acting, I feel the freedom. I can be anything. In reality, I'm shy and not that shy, but I'm a little bit more like not so outgoing. And I don't know, but when I see like acting,
Hmm.
then I do acting, then I have this freedom. I can be drug addict. I can be like crazy guy spending years in prison. I can be like villain. I can be bad guy, which I don't want to do in the real life. So it gives me that freedom of
Okay.
behavior, freedom of imagination.
Okay.
And I think storytelling is a very interesting way. You tell story that you really like,
Hmm.
or something that you can create, and it's
Right.
very fascinating. Like I've watched movie Inception, and I was like, oh my God, this is just so beautiful.
It's very funny because like people say Inception is like a metaphor for like movie production. So it's kind of interesting that you go that particular route. Do you feel like is there's a particular genre of film you'd like to explore and go to? Like if you had a choice like right now, they were like, we're just gonna cast you in a role. What any genre you want? Do you have like a particular one like sci-fi or comedy or thriller or like horror?
Yeah, my first two picks would be thriller and comedy, but I
Okay.
love thriller movies. I just love them because they are so good. They they keep you on your toes. You don't know what's gonna happen next,
Right.
and you really can't move until the movie ends. So
Right.
I would love to work in a thriller.
Like a thriller film, right? So
Yes.
what would be your influence like? Like what would top thriller movie of all time that like was like, you know what? This is like the niche I want to go to. Like did you have something to influence you to go into that particular
Well, I
genre?
always love thriller movies. I always love them because they are the real entertainment.
Okay.
I It changes. I knew that when I watched Silence of the Lambs like 15 years ago, that was
Okay.
my favorite movie. But then I watched, I don't know when, Seven, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman movie. That became my favorite. So it keeps changing. I love pretty much all kind of thriller movies, but lately I watched this movie last year. What's the name of the movie? Let me think. Give me 1 second. Jams. Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, right? That's the
Yeah,
one with the Adam Sandler. It's on Netflix, no?
Adam Sandler. Yeah, I watched it on Netflix. Amazing movie. Great movie. I loved it.
No, it's like very different because now before when you watched movies in India, it was like what they were using like VHS, they were using television. Like this was before the internet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. I think internet broke out in major cities in India during like 2000, after 2003. And I remember I used to watch movies on my TV as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch thriller movies there too. I watched pretty much all kind of movies. Like, yeah, I remember I watched all kind of movies because even in India,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of movies based on romance, but then there are a lot of movies that are based on thriller, comedy, or social issue, or drama, or family
Right.
drama. Yeah, there's pretty much all kind of movies. I would say we have to explore more into sci-fi movies. The one genre that I see in India, it has not developed to the extent that it should be, is the
Okay.
sci-fi movies.
Is like the sci-fi criteria, right? So when we think films in India, like how would you describe them? Like do you use the term Bollywood? Like in America, you use Hollywood. How like in terms of geographic location?
That's a very hard question because, like I said, India is very diverse,
Okay.
and I kind of refrain giving a generalized statement about India because I
Right.
learned in past few years that it's so diverse that every area has its own genre, every area has its own regional language, its own culture, dialect.
Okay.
And I can speak the city I can speak about in India is Delhi, because that's where I
Okay.
spent my entire life, and
Oh,
I know it. And I was very ignorant first when I was living in India, because I lived in Delhi and I thought that's the country. But
oh,
after getting out of India, after when I met with the people who lived
mhm,
in different parts of India, I
mhm.
realized that I was ignorant, and it's so diverse. So I can speak about the northern part of India, because in India there's a big cinema Hollywood, but within
Right.
states they have their own cinema.
That's
They
interesting.
It's very interesting, because like like I don't know if I can give example something in America, like there's a lot of English movies, but
Right.
there will be some parts where there's just Spanish movies, people watch just Spanish movies.
Okay.
So in India, like if you go to southern parts,
Okay.
a lot of states they make movies in their own language. I didn't even know about it.
Wow.
So it's so huge, so diverse, that's very hard to say if there's any one type of movies. But northern part of India, there's big um, love for the family movies and movies about love, like where there's a lot of romance, a lot of
Okay.
family drama,
Okay.
because northern culture still has this joint family system. A lot of people live in joint family,
Okay.
so they can relate it very good.
Right. So what about, so when you move to the states, so Texas, New York, uh like how many states in America have you been to?
I I have been to a lot of states because I do road trips. I have not lived in all of them, but I have spent like 3-4 days in one state, and
Mm-hmm.
then 3-4 days next. Usually we do a road trip for 10-12 days, and we
Hmm.
pick like three states. So we spend like three, 4 days,
Right.
3-4 days in one state, try
Okay.
to go to national park, do hike, then go to
Okay.
small town, meet with local people. I have covered like 16, 17 states so far.
Okay. So so in terms of movies and genres, like, do you feel that different states have a particular niche for genre or film or like preference or no?
Well, that's gonna be very hard for me to answer,
Okay.
because with America, the good thing is I have lived in small town,
Okay.
but even in small town, when I interacted with people, people have love for sci-fi movies
Right.
and movies that not so typical for that culture. Like you may go to Texas, a small town in Texas and Florida, and you may think that they like movies based on Southern culture, but that's not true. They love sci-fi movies too. And it's gonna be very hard for me to answer, because American movies, like Hollywood movies, are pretty much watched everywhere. They're watched
Okay.
outside United States. So
Okay.
so
No, very, 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 very cool. So, what courses have you studied, and how have they prepared you for like the future of acting? Like, how do you feel that, how do you decide what courses you've studied? How do you decide which ones to take?
yeah, I mean, I was looking for a studio that can train me.
Okay.
So I was doing a little bit research on internet. I was
Right.
reading reviews of different studios, and then
Mm-hmm.
I came across HB Studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I already knew a little bit about Uta Hagen. And then I found that Uta Hagen did all the teaching at the HB Studio, and his technique is is taught at this institution. I read the reviews. So I found really good reviews for the HB Studio, and what's this other studio, Barrow Group. So I had to pick one. So I picked HB Studio, and
Mm-hmm.
then I decided I start with the basic courses, go to intermediate, and then go to advanced courses. So
Very
I
cool.
took last semester, I took acting one with camera and acting one, and now I'm taking acting two and acting two with camera. And next semester, probably like three. There's basically three level one, level two, level three.
Okay.
I'm on level two, and they are helping me tremendously. The teachers are great at HB Studio. I love them. They make everything look simple. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
They focus on you. They focus on every student, and I think it's helping me a lot. And hopefully, once I finish teaching, maybe I start getting some work experience at a theater or somewhere. and
Okay.
then maybe I can take personal coaching or something.
Okay. Because that's a pretty big shift going from physical therapy to acting. So what advice would you give aspiring people that are making large shifts like that? Because it like a lot of people might say, wow, I've already invested so much time in studying a particular course, or I've already spent so much time in a particular field. And then but my passion is in something else.
Yeah,
How what would you tell people in that position?
yes, I can answer that. There's a very good quote in a movie. I think it's from the movie Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and I
Okay.
remember the lines. I think the actor says something like, "It's never too late to pursue that really worth pursuing." I'm paraphrasing it.
Hmm.
So something that gives you fulfillment, or something that inspires you, something that challenges you to be better, and something that you find really fulfilling. You feel like you're gonna be really happy with the work. It's never too late, and I actually see it. I was a little bit skeptical when I started taking classes, that how it's gonna work. I'm already in my 30s, and I went to school for almost 8 years for physical therapy, and now I'm making change. I have so much work experience and all, and I'm starting from square one. But I was surprised that there were like people in their 60s and 70s taking classes. And then I felt like this is nothing. People who are there in 60s, 70s, they are starting it now. If they can do it, why can't I? So I found that what matters is that make you happy. So if acting gives you happiness, you can start it at any age for any kind of work that you feel is is gonna make you happy.
Do you regret leaving physical therapy or pursue the idea of leaving physical therapy behind?
Well, I have not left it yet.
Uh-huh.
I love physical therapy work too. I got into it because I like working with the people.
Hmm.
I love working as a physical therapist. I get good work. I get good results working with the people. It makes difference in their life quality, and it's fulfilling. Physical therapy work is fulfilling. I work with
What does that kind of work involve most of the time?
most of the time. Well, I'm doing home care now. So I go
Okay.
to people's house and work with them. So I work with a lot of people who can't walk too much. That's why they can't go outside their house to take therapy. I go to
Okay.
them.
So
So
do you
I
also have to
work on
bring
like,
equipment to them, or how does that work?
I say that again,
Like, do
Brian.
you also bring equipment? Like what? Like, do you have to bring tools, equipment?
Not so much. I carry my bag with me, blood
Okay.
pressure machine and all, but I don't really use equipment that much. It's pretty much like basic exercises.
Hmm.
That's what I use.
Hmm.
So I have all kind of people, like, sometimes people get their joint replaced and they come from hospital directly to home. So I work
Right.
with them, teach them how to walk and all. Sometimes people start falling. They are falling too much. So I work on their balance. So
Hmm.
it's diverse, all kind of people, but pretty much people who are elderly and who can go outside house. Otherwise they can do like outpatient therapy.
Right. No, that's definitely interesting. So, so now that you're doing this, what what are you doing in terms of the next step? Like, how are you? How what's next? Are you going for auditions? Are you going for more auditions? Are you doing more classes? How are you approaching other people to put yourself more into that field or career?
Yes, I am planning that once this pandemic get over, we get the vaccine, I'll be going for auditions. I'll be going for auditions for pretty much everything,
Mm.
theater and camera work. I will be taking some more classes. I'll be doing some coaching, and then I'm thinking to develop network, get to know more people, maybe start my own YouTube channel and do acting work as much as possible, get a lot of experience, and shift from physical therapy to acting fully, make that transition that I'm working on.
Oh, very cool. So, so what do you do for fun outside of your packed schedule? Like, how do you keep yourself? Do you how do you keep yourself entertained or relaxed or like balancing the workload of like
I
switching
see.
careers?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Um, I told that I do road trips.
Uh-huh.
Usually I do one road trip every 6 months. That's my biggest fun.
Mm.
We I do it with my friends. So we usually give 10 to 12 days for one road trip. We try to cover 2 to 3 states, and we go to national parks, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't go through the highways. We go through the you can choose in the map. You can skip highways. You can do all different kind of things when you navigate through the GPS. So we skip
Mm-hmm.
highways, go through small towns. So sometimes we will stop at a local restaurant in the small town, talk to people, how's living, what
Wow.
they do, and then go to national parks, do some hiking, check out the local attractions, do camping, and sometimes we just take a van, like big van, and do like car camping. That's what I do. Other than that, I do a lot of like internet surfing, like just knowing about different cultures, uh, knowing doing research on the random things. I find it inspiring. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's basically like the short condensed version of it. What do you really like if you were to do the road trips, like any plans for like a road trip movie in the future? Like
I
a
would
movie
love
about your
to.
road trip
Oh yeah, I
experience?
would love to. I do a little bit writing too, and I wrote a documentary on my road trips,
Okay.
especially my first road trip, which was crazy because we didn't know how to plan it, and we made a lot of mistakes. It was crazy. So I wrote a documentary on it. I find it very funny. So I can probably, yeah, I would love to work on a movie on road trip, or I would like to do
Any
more
scary
writing on it.
moment where you got lost and you're like, I don't know where I am. What do I do?
Yeah, a couple of times. My first road trip, I tell you a little bit. We were doing this hiking in New Mexico
Okay.
on a mountain called Guadalupe Mountain. It's at the border of New Mexico and Texas.
Hmm.
We did not do research on the weather. We just, it was the end of April 2015. We
Hmm.
thought like it's end of April and it's not that cold anymore, which is not true for the mountain, especially in New Mexico. So we drove there in the evening.
Hmm.
We did the car camping and we got up in the morning. It was snowing. There was like 6-8 inches snow or more than that. We didn't have proper shoes. We didn't even have map, and that's a
Wow.
crazy thing, if you're doing hiking. And that hike was meant to be done in the summer. During winter, which is April, which is winter in New Mexico,
Hmm.
people do skiing there. So there was no sign, nothing. We
Wow.
started doing it, and then we kind of got lost because there's no sign. We didn't know if we can go forward. We can't go backward either because there's no sign. Our shoes, we had like sports shoes which are not meant for the hiking. So the
Right.
snow was going in the shoes. My fingers got wet. My I didn't have proper clothes, so I was I was frozen and my toes were hurting. I was scared because I was lost. Thank God I had somebody with me. We were two people. Thankfully, we made it back before sunset, and we felt so relieved.
Wow. That's great. That's awesome. So, Gautam, I want to thank you in advance for your time because I know that we had like a short in between segments. You need to let me know when you do that movie about your road trip because I think it's going to be really fun to be able to be a part of it, even as a
Oh, yes.
cameo. And then, like, if you pay for all my hotel and food costs, I'm like totally down.
Oh,
But
I would love you to work in it. If I find somebody, I can write it and I can act in it. If I find somebody who's like a
awesome.
producer or somebody who is interested in making a movie like that, oh,
Well, I'm gonna definitely volunteer to definitely be like, hey, we'll see how this is gonna work. So so I want to thank everyone on YouTube, and I want to thank you, Guadam, for being able to come in, share your experience, and I look forward to us having another conversation again,
mhm,
especially when you do the road trip documentary.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me, Bryant.
Pleasure. Have a wonderful time.
Yes, you too.